Hi friends, I'm Angelica. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I thought it would be fun to actually come in front of the camera, introduce myself. It's been a while since I've been on my channel. Had a lot of family issues come up, plus I got sick. I got really sick with what everybody else has been getting sick with lately, and it knocked me out for a couple weeks. So I am just now starting to get back into a regular schedule, thank goodness. And that means I've also kind of gotten back into crafting. So I have a really fun project that I'm going to share with you today. We're going to make handmade boxes, and I'm going to share with you a formula that I learned a few years ago from a video that I saw on YouTube. Now, I didn't save the video, so I can't give the acknowledgement to the YouTuber that I learned this from. So sorry about that, but just know I'm not inventing the wheel here, but I'm sharing how I make my cards with you, the formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to make boxes for cards, starting with an A4 size card. This is the first box that we will be making, which is 2 pieces of cardstock. I've closed it with a really pretty ribbon, just a simple ribbon. And we're going to use the same formula that we do for this card, or for this box, to make a box for a slimline card. And I put a belly band on this one, which is, really easy if you want to slip a card in there. But, if you're gifting it to somebody, you can just slip a birthday card or whatever it is for in there. And then one last card that we are making is another A4 size card. This time, this is just going to be made from 1 piece of paper. So I'm going to show you the measurements on how to make this, plus the supplies that I used. And I'm just going to chit chat throughout the video too. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to just jump right in and start measuring. I have a handful of handmade cards here. They're all A4 size cards, 4¼ by 5½, and they're all different dimensions, like heights. I use foam tape. Some are flat cards. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to measure the largest item that's going to be in the box, which here is going to be the envelope. So an A4 size envelope is 5¾ by 4�3. So we know we want our box to slightly bigger than that. So the envelopes will fit nicely in the bottom. You don't have to push them down. They're not going to buckle or anything. You just want to have a nice little teeny bit of room around the corners. So we know that we're starting with 5¾ by 4�3. That's going to be the largest item in the box. Now we need to know the height of our box. So we're going to measure all of the items that we're going to put in the box together, and I'm going to put those at the beginning of my scoreboard, and I'm going to leave them loose. I don't want to push them and make them push them and strain them so they're shorter than what they're actually going to be when they're put in the box. So they came in right at 1 inch, if not just a little bit above it. So we're going to go with 1¼ and that's going to be the height of the box. Now, to start the formula, to start the math, so you know how to cut your box, the measurement to cut the paper for the box, we're going to add 1/8 inch to each measurement. And if you're not a fan of doing fractions math, that's fine. When you're doing something that small in number, just look at your scoreboard or look at a ruler. 1/8 is usually the small line next. So if you look at your ruler or your scoreboard, it's easier to figure out that measurement instead of trying to do it in your head, because I'm telling you, elementary school was a while ago for me. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take that height measurement, which was 1¼ for this particular box, and we're going to times it by 2, because each measurement, each side of the paper is going to have 2 sides on it, right? So 1¼ sides times 2 is 2½. So we need to add 2½ inches to each measurement, and that is going to give us the sides of our box, which is going to give us the height. So we're adding the 1/8 inch and then 2.5 inch to the measurements. And that's going to give us the full measurement of the cardstock size that we need for the bottom of our box. Now, once we have the measurements done for the bottom part of the box, the bottom box, we're going to add 1/8 inch to each side, to each measurement. And that measurement is going to be for the top of the box. The 1/8 inch works perfectly for the lid. Especially if you're using heavyweight cardstock. I'm using 100-pound cardstock. So it's thicker. If you're using 80-pound cardstock, maybe try 1/16 of an inch, so it's not too loose. But 1/8 inch for 100-pound cardstock, I have found is perfect. You're not gonna be hurting your box in any sort of way, hurting the corners. You're not going to be putting any extra pressure down because you really want to get that box to close, but it's really tight. Now that we have figured out our measurements, it's time to cut the cardstock and score on all of the sides. So I have 2 different colors of pink. I'm going to use the darker pink as my bottom of the box. So I am cutting the bottom of the box. What was it? It was 8 3/8 by 7. And the top of the box is going to be 8.5 by 7 1/8. Now, if you're not too sure, like the first couple times I made my boxes, I just used scratch paper. I used paper that wasn't expensive, as so I could practice and make sure I knew what I was doing. Every step made sense. So if you want to practice a couple rounds, use paper that you're okay with, not making projects out of. Now, once the cardstock is cut, you're going to use your scoreboard and you're going to score the height, which the height that we made for this card was, or for this box was 1 1/4 inches. So I'm scoring on all 4 sides of both papers. And then I'm going to take that light pink cardstock, which is the top. You're going to be able to tell it's the top. It's, slightly larger than the other piece. And I'm going to trim off 1/4 inch off of each side of the top part of the box. And what that's going to do, it's going to make the edges a little bit shorter than the bottom box. So the bottom part of the box, that dark pink, is going to peek through, and it just gives a really lovely look to the box. Now, before moving on, this is a great time to decorate the top of the box. I used Stamp Market ink and the Greetery Sketchbook Roses stamp set to decorate this light pink panel. And now I'm going to use my detail scissors to cut the tabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right on the score line. Each corner of these cardstock is a square, and I'm cutting on that score line to the opposite score line, like kind of where it tees. And that's going to give me a nice tab that's going to fold really nicely inside the box once we fold the sides up. And I'm also going to cut the ends of the tabs at an angle so they sit nicely inside the box and they don't have a chance of sticking up outside of the box. So make sure you cut those at a slant. I'm using my bone folder to really get some nice creases on those scored lines, so I have sharp edges on the lid, and same with the bottom. You definitely want to make sure you're also scoring the tabs too. Don't forget about the tabs. You want those to have nice sharp edges too. Now we're going to repeat the process for the bottom part of the box, the dark pink one. We're, cutting the edges on the outside of the tabs and then cutting on the score line to make the tabs, and we will again fold on the scored lines, and then it's time to get the adhesive on the tabs. So I'm using a very strong adhesive. This is score tape. It's double-sided adhesive, and I'm making sure I have a nice amount on each tab. And I'm making sure I'm putting this adhesive on the outside tabs, not on the inside, because the tabs are going to be tucked inside of the box, like you're going to see right here. So you want the adhesive on the outside because you're going to tuck it inside the box, and then you're going to pull the wall or the side up and make those corners really nice and sharp. So it is very important. You're not going to be able to do it if the adhesive's on the inside of the tab. So make sure it's on the outside, and get those corners. Take your time. This isn't a race, so take your time. Make sure those corners line up at a 180-degree angle, and then you have a really nice, pretty box top. We're going to repeat the process again for the bottom part of the box, adding the adhesive on the outside of the tabs, and then tucking those tabs inside each side of the box and pulling the next side up so you get that really nice 180-degree sharp angle. And once you're completely done with all four sides, you should have a very pretty box, bottom of a box, that the top lid fits nicely on top of. And you can see how pretty that pop of color when you have a different card box bottom, when you trim off the 1/4 inch off of the top cardstock and you let the bottom of the box, have a little peekaboo effect. It's really stunning. I love it. It's very subtle. Now the envelopes, you can see, fit very nicely. There's just a really slight border around them, and then all of the cards fit in there really nicely too, and that lid just slides right on. It's not too loose, it's not too tight. Perfect for a gift. So now we're going to make a second box. We're going to use the same formula that we used for the first box, but we're going to make it bigger. And to make a bigger box, we need bigger paper. So I have 2 pieces of 12 by 12 Basil cardstock. This is a heavyweight cardstock. I buy this cardstock at Joann's, which is right down the street from me. It's in their open paper stock aisle. And they have great paper sales a few times a year where you can get 12 or 15 sheets for $2. So I usually go in then and, buy a small rainbow of colors. Anyway, so getting back to the box and measurements, we're going to make a box now for slimline cards, or, you could put a tie in this box, or whatever you want to do for the box. But it's the same formula. You want to measure the largest item that's going to be in the box, which for this is the envelope, which was 9.5 by 4 1/8. And then we want to measure the height. We want to measure all the items that are going to be in the box, so we know how high the sides need to be. Which those cards came in right under 1 inch, so we're going to give the box 1 inch sides. So we add in the 1/8 to each measurement of the 9.5 by 4 1/8, and then we add 1 inch times 2, because we have to add 2 sides to each measurement. So we do that addition, which I'm showing my notes because I'm probably talking faster than what I'm writing. So the 1/8 inch and the 2 inches added to each side comes out to be 11 5/8 by 6 1/4, and that's going to be the bottom part of our box. And of course, we're going to score on 1 inch on all 4 sides. And then to do the top of the box measurement, we just add 1/8 inch so that the top of the box is just slightly larger than the bottom of the box in the lid, because it's going to be the lid, so the lid fits nicely on top of the bottom of the box. Now the measurements are all done, and we are going to repeat everything that we did for the first box. Cutting down the cardstock, stamping the cardstock. I'm going to use the same Sketchbook Roses stamp set, this time using yellow ink from Pink Fresh Studio, from their yellow ink family. And then scoring, folding those scored lines, cutting the tabs, and adding adhesive. And now it's time to see how the cards and envelopes fit in the box. And the envelopes just have a very nice snug fit, just like the first box, because our measurements were done correctly. And the lid fits perfectly. And we have that little hint of the darker yellow because the lid was trimmed a 1/4 inch on all sides. I just love that detail. And here are the two boxes next to each other with that same lovely rose, sketchbook rose stamp on them. And yeah, I absolutely love these boxes. So for our last box that we're going to make, we are again using a 12 by 12 basil sheet of cardstock. And this time we are going to be folding this box one, two, three, 4 times to almost like a clam. It's going to like hug the cards and the envelopes. So I'm doing a measurement right now of the envelope, which we've already done. We know that the A4 envelope is 5 3/4 by 4 3/8. I'm adding that 1 inch or that 1/8 inch to each side of that measurement, so that the envelopes have just a little bit of room to move in. Now with this box, we're just going to do 1 inch side. 1 inch sides because we only have so much room because we are working with a 12-inch paper. And since the envelope, when you add 1/8 to the shorter side of the envelope, you have 4.5 inches. So we're going to multiply 4.5 by 2, and that's going to give us the bottom part of the box and the top part of the box, right? And then we're going to add 3 inches to that because we need the back part of like the spine. That's 1 inch. And then there's going to be 2 front tabs or 2 front sides, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, hang on. You're about to see in a minute because I'm going to cut and score the paper so it makes a lot more sense than what I'm saying and what I'm writing right now. Okay, so I'm going to cut this 12 by 12 paper to 7 7/8 by 12. You don't have to do any sort of math. You can just write this measurement down and follow my directions from here on out, and you're going to have a perfect little box for your A4 cards and envelopes. So I cut that cardstock down. I stamped it with Tailored Expressions Gumball Blue ink and the Sketchbook Roses stamp set from the Greetery. And now I am scoring 1 inch on all 4 sides. And that's going to give me my sides, for the whole box. But I also need to make a side for the middle, which or the back, like the back spine. So the middle of this 12-inch panel obviously is 6 inches. So I'm going to score at 5.5 inches and at 6.5 inches, and that's going to give me my 1 inch back side. Okay, so now I have score lines all the way around on all 4 sides, plus I have 2 score lines down the middle of this piece of paper. I'm going to take my pencil and I am going to mark 1 inch away from that 5.5 score line. So I'm marking it at 4.5, and then I'll flip the panel over and mark a 1 inch away from the 5.5 inch line. So I have 2 marks that are directly apart from each other, and I'm going to draw a triangle because I'm going to cut that triangle out, and this is going to make the paper not buckle when I fold all the papers on the score line. Are you lost yet? Because I'm almost lost. I brought in a piece of paper where I just drew in the scored lines, so you can see what I did. All the solid lines are scored lines, and you see those triangles next to the back spine. Those triangles are going to get cut out, and that is going to make the box fold together and close nicely. So I'm going to fold first all the scored lines, and this paper is really thick. It's a really heavyweight cardstock, so I am going to take my time bending on the scored lines before I use my my bone folder to really crease those lines. I don't want to hurt any of the paper fibers because, like I said, this is a really heavy paper. And once I have all of those papers or all the scored lines um, uh, folded over and then really reinforced with my bone folder, I'm going to start cutting my tabs. Now you can see I have some sunlight coming into my work area. My work area is down in our basement, and my daughter had opened up the blinds to the little window that we have over by the fireplace, and I didn't realize sunlight could hit over to my work area. So that was a pleasant surprise. I did go and close the blinds so that glare would go away. Now you can see here, I'm going to cut those triangles out, and I am going to struggle just a little bit because I have a bright light above my work area, so I kept losing the score line. So if that happens to you, what I should have done is just put down my scissors and grabbed a pencil and just, lightly drawn in a line so I knew where to cut, but I was being lazy. It was, I just needed to get through this project so I can go upstairs and get dinner started. But yeah, I just cut all the tabs. Once the tabs are cut, I'm going to add the adhesive. Now, this is another box that I saw being made here on YouTube, and I actually caught this on Angel Mendoza's YouTube channel. I hope I said that right. She's got fabulous crafting ideas, especially a lot with like craft folders, just projects you can do with craft folders. And I think she's got an online store too. So I'll leave a link for her channel down in my description so you can go check her out. But I watched her do a a quick tutorial on this box. It was just with some music on the background, and I watched how she did it, and I, quickly figured out the measurements so I could make the box that she had made for some stuff that she was selling out of her Etsy store, like hair ties. She'd made some boxes for some hair ties, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect to make for to gift cards, and it turned out perfect to make with 12 by 12 cardstock. So I have I'm sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice here. I think I've been talking a little too long today. I have the adhesive on the tabs, and now I'm just adhering the tabs to the inside of the box, folding on every scored mark, and you're going to just see quickly, excuse me, you're going to see how this quickly comes together. Now, I did forget to add cut a slant into one of those tabs, and had I not cut that slant in, that little piece would have stuck out just a little bit, and then the box wouldn't have closed correctly. So I cut that little piece off of the tab, and then finished putting the box together. And I love that you can make a gift box out of one piece of paper. And using stamps that are in your stash is a really easy way of taking that colored cardstock and making it a really pretty pattern. So your boxes aren't, they're handmade, but they're not boring per se. You are able to give your box personality. And I went with a very romantic feel with the Sketchbook roses. So use whatever stamps are in your stash, or use die cuts. The sky's the limit making your own boxes. Just make sure you're having fun crafting. Whatever you're crafting, if you're stamping, coloring, making boxes, have fun, create, explore colors. Okay, well, that's all that I have for today. I hope you picked up some ideas. I hope the formula that I use will work for you. I would love to see any projects that you make. So if you post them online, I am on Instagram. You can find me at My Love for Paper. Tag me in your picture, or tag me in a comment so I can stop by and see what you've made. Also, you can find me myloveforpaper.com. That's my blog. I share lots of ideas, lots of pictures. I get more in detail. A lot of my projects that I make, I'm not in front of the camera. I don't turn my camera on, especially these past couple months, because I've just been too busy. I've been sick. My mother-in-law got sick. It's just been hectic. So this year, I am planning to turn my camera on a lot more. But you can always find new projects over on my blog. So I'll leave a link to that down in the description. If you have any questions or comments or requests, be sure to leave a comment down below too. So I do read the comments. I might not always be able to reply, but I do see them. I have my 4-year-old daughter who is my, my schedule revolves around her. So I have a lot of videos that, video ideas coming up for my channel, so keep an eye out for that. I'm probably going to include Vera, my daughter, in some of those videos too, because she loves to be in front of the camera, and I think that she's going to be a really sweet addition to this channel. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe before you leave. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I will be back shortly, so I'll see you then. Bye.